I mean, I think even if a business's preferred method for sales is a cold call, it
Mm,
still goes hand in hand with LinkedIn because
mm.
ultimately it doesn't have to be a cold call. You can usurp that. Connect with the decision makers, the stakeholders, go on their profile and like genuinely engage with them. So as soon
Mm.
as first they're going to get a notification to see that you've been on their profile. Then they're going to get, oh, Eloise Idoine has just liked my post. She's just commented on my post. Great. So already your name or your business is in their sphere of thinking. It's in their subconscious. So
Yeah.
then if you do go to pick up the phone, great. They probably already have an idea of who you are. They might have seen your content. But also, if you are struggling to get hold of them on the phone, and this is one of my top tips, you
Right.
can be as bold as to go onto their page. Now, if they've put a post out there, they've done that with the intention of engaging people. It's for the same
Correct.
reason that anyone's creating a post.
Yeah.
You could be as bold as to go onto their post and go, hey, I love this post. I'd really want to learn more about your business. Let's have a call. You've done that in the comments section. You've done it publicly. If they
Mm.
choose to ignore you then, and they're only actually damaging the reputation of their own post and their own business because they're not responding to people who are actively reaching out. So
Why post
if you,
anyway if you don't,
yeah,
if you're not going to respond, right?
yeah. If you've got an ideal client in mind, an individual or a business, that is the way to get in front of them. Go and comment on their posts and directly ask them for a call. It doesn't
Now I
have
know
to be cheesy.
now I know people who would say, well, isn't that intrusive? Now my first thought is if you're going to cold call anyway, then no. Because is it a cold call? If I call up and say, hey, Eloise, loved that post about sales nav the other day, saw that you don't really use it. Really interesting. By the way, I'm calling from, no, that's not a cold call. Like a cold call is when you're like, hello, Mrs. Iodine. And then you have to correct me. Idoine, damn it. And we're already on and off foot. And I'm like, so you work at the, and you're like, no, that's 3 jobs ago. And I'm like, because my date is out of date, right? That's a cold call. And I've done 20,000 of them. And they're scary because they're really scary. It's like just walking into a room and then the lights go on and they're like, speak to this person. Yeah, hi. So much easier if I could have 5 minutes outside before walking into that room and having the lights switched on to be like, okay, so she likes posts like that. Oh, look, there's a profile video. Oh, she seems funny. That's cool. Oh, wait, there's a little post about there. Okay, I got something to talk about. I don't see how that's a cold call. And, if you have connected and when you then get that phone call and you're like, yeah, Eloise, yeah, right. You're kind of in a conversation before you know it because, as you say, you've had the engagement. You've seen the like, you've seen the connection request. Maybe there's been a message back and forth. There's a comment on the thing. That pops up and sits in people's heads. So when you do make that phone call, it doesn't have to be, hi, it is Jay calling from GLProUK. I was wondering if I could speak to Eloise, please. Right, there's just nothing to that. Instead, I can be like, Eloise, hey, how you doing? Because I know that you're going to like that from watching your profile.
Yes. Yeah, exactly that.
It shocks me that more like traditional sales teams aren't leaning into this and they don't, it's lovely to say that, to hear that so many businesses are using LinkedIn as KPIs, right? Use this, go and do it as a tool. But I also know tons of businesses who are like, that's for the kids. I'm like, it's just not. It's like when I first went into sales, I was given a phone book.
Yeah.
Phone book and a phone. And it was like, cool. Like there's people in there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
You just have Edwin. Hi. Is that Edward or you wouldn't know. So the fact that you can educate yourself so much is just incredible power. Really is just incredible power.
And I think what's so good about LinkedIn as well is that when you are building your audience by using the algorithm and by genuinely engaging, what happens is that if I've got this client in mind, I can go on their profile and, like I said, liking and commenting. But in turn, what will happen is the algorithm will recognize, okay, Eloise really likes this person's content. Let's show them what she's doing. So you're automatically creating that engagement. So when they go back to their feed, your posts are going to be prioritized by the algorithm and they're going to see your content. So you can almost, create this view for yourself.
You can be incredibly targeted if you want to and really think about it. If you're going after Coca-Cola,
yes,
whatever you want to sell to Coca-Cola, you can then post content for 3 months while you're trying to get in touch with different business units within Coca-Cola about fizzy drink marketing. I don't know, right? But you can literally create content that is specifically for them. So when someone does say, Jay, I don't know, Ludgrove. Okay, hang on a second. Oh, okay. This actually, he might work in hospitality. He kind of knows about our industry. Oh, he's talking about supply chain. Interesting. Okay, that's what we do. You know, that might be kind of the advanced version of what we're talking about, but it's not that difficult a thing to put together in your head when you know that you're going to be targeting people about something anyway.
Yes, yeah. It's crazy to think that there's over 31 million people in the UK alone using LinkedIn. So if that's nearly half of the population of the UK, which is just crazy. But actually, only 3% of people create content on what's deemed a regular basis. And from the UK, I mean, over as a whole on the platform, it's around 1% of people who are regularly creating content. And often
a lot of voyeurs out there, love it.
Yeah, that's it. So if you can be, you know, one of that small percentage of people who are regularly creating content, you've got a huge audience, and it's not that competitive actually, if you think about it. So I always encourage people to do so. One of the mistakes that often people will make is that they're just basically sharing posts from their business page or the company's business page.
And why is that a bad thing, Eloise? Because that seems so easy. I can click share and it's done and I'm happy. You know, you've shared a post. I love it. Boom, share. I'm done. I've done my engagement for the day. Why don't you like that?
Well, it's not me who personally doesn't like it, but it's just like with Google and search engine optimization. So it's that duplicated content. So LinkedIn want to see what they call now evergreen content, something that could be referred back to in a couple of months, still be interesting, still be engaging, and they're actually giving people the opportunity to allow that content to come back into people's feeds, you know, a few weeks down the line, so people can re-engage with it. Ultimately, if you are sharing content, people will recognize that it's duplicated content. And what will happen is LinkedIn will only prioritize the original post. So anything that gets shared after that, they're just not interested. And people who do this on a regular basis, you might notice if you've created a post where you've put your own writing and your own pictures up, you will have a significantly higher amount of engagement than anything that's been shared just from a business page or from another user.
100%.
Ultimately, people have to remember that LinkedIn makes their money through advertising. So if you are putting external links, as soon as somebody clicks off that link, even if it's a video, you know, you want to upload a video and it's a YouTube video, it's taking somebody away from their platform and immediately they're losing revenue. So
this we have to dig into. I see it all the time, especially from good traditional marketers. Right? From people who understand marketing, they get lead funnels, they understand the whole darn thing, but maybe they haven't quite got the full knowledge of social and the algorithm. On any social media platform, this is not specific to LinkedIn. In fact, it's every place that wants you to spend money in them. You can't go in there and tell people to go somewhere else and them like it. If there is 2 bars on a street, I can't go into the opposite bar and start putting flyers down and standing up on the mic and be like, it's 2 for 1 across the road. That the bartenders are not going to like that, right? And they're going to kick me out, or they're going to pull they're going to pull that power out of the mic, so I don't have a voice. LinkedIn is going to do the same thing if you're going on there and saying like, hey, check out my website, because your website is not LinkedIn. You are sending people away from LinkedIn. They don't want that. They like people using LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So every time you're going to post something, I know it seems like a pain in the backside if you've made a video to have to upload it to Instagram, and now I've got to upload it to Facebook, and now I've got to upload the website. Oh, now I've got to upload LinkedIn as well. I get that's a pain, but that content is progressing the platform that you're putting on. So that platform is like, bing, 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 love you. You know, the more videos you put on there, the more chance there is someone will watch that video and they'll spend time there. Don't send people away. I know it makes sense to be like, oh, I want them to go to my website though. We all do.
Yes,
but the platform won't reward you for it.
Yes, yeah. One thing that I've learned recently as well is that when you are sharing content, and this isn't something that I put into practice myself because it just doesn't work with the kind of content that I want to share. But ultimately, looking at that advertising space again, when you're on your desktop, you've got a certain amount of space on the screen. So LinkedIn actually prefers and favors just these text-based posts where all they're showing is that first sentence or so, and it's formatted the post really small. If you've got a big video or lots of photos, it's taking up the full screen. So they can't fit adverts either side of that. And they just want more advertising space for themselves. So I wouldn't get too bogged down with that kind of thing, because ultimately you could end up just not doing anything just because you're worried too much about the algorithm.
It's too short. It's too long. I've got video. I haven't got video. And look, all of this advice that Eloise gives, everything that I try and tell people in this show, or trying to push in the right direction, it can feel a lot of time like being in the fitness industry, never eat carbs, always eat carbs, never eat before 5, only eat once a day. There's absolutely 1,000 ways to skin a cat, or whatever you want to call it, right? There's a bunch of different ways of having success. And I think you have to try it out. You got to try it and see what works for you. But what we're saying here are kind of the definite don'ts, right? Just don't do that. Yeah. That's a real problem. Before the call, we were talking about content creator mode, which obviously has been rolled out. You tell me, middle of last year, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's about right. Yeah,
somewhere around there. And for those people who are not in the 3% in the UK or the 1% globally, who aren't necessarily posting, what is content creator mode?
So they're actually two separate features. So you get the cover story, which is the video that sits behind the profile, but creator mode as a whole is something that you can access through your dashboard on your profile. And what it does is it allows you firstly to associate 5 keywords or hashtags with your business or your industry. Okay. So these will then sit alongside your profile, and straight under your headline, it will then tell you this person talks about these topics most often. What it means is that you can be quite selective about which hashtags you use to reach a wider audience. So when you do use a hashtag on LinkedIn, it's worth having a look and seeing how many people are following that, and whether it's actually worth associating to your posts or your profile at all. Some will have no followers, and it's just a waste of a hashtag. Other people, what I often see is people will use hashtag business, very, very broad term, okay? I think it's over got 30 million followers for the business one. Wow. So if you imagine how many people are putting that on their post every day, you're then getting lost in the ether with that. So do a bit of research and find the hashtags that work. But ultimately, you can associate those to your profile. It will also, the purpose of creator mode is to put more prominence on the content that you've created. So it will push it higher up to your profile. So instead of it going your profile picture and headline into your About You section, what it will actually do is put the content right at the top. And you can also create like a feature reel as well. So you can choose what content you want to display right at the top of your profile. And, if you're hosting an event or you've got something coming up or a promotion, then you can have that there. Yeah, that's it. And then you can take it off and when that's done as well. So it gives you the option to feature more content. It also changes your connect button to a follow button. Now, I personally think this is a good thing because ultimately you can only have 30,000 genuine connections on LinkedIn. Sounds like a lot, but let's say that LinkedIn is part of your long-term business strategy. There is going to get to a day where if you are organically growing your network, potentially by 5,400 people a year, using all the connection requests you can, then you are going to hit that limit. You don't want to then have to put like weeks aside to go and do a cull and get rid of people so that you can then reconnect. So ultimately, by people following instead of connecting with you, you can then be selective about who you bring into your network. You can look at your followers and manage them and say, actually, okay, that's great that these people are following me, but I can't actually do business with them. But I can do business with X, Y, Z, and I'm going to then send them a connection request, which is going to have a much higher acceptance rate because they've already showed interest and engaged with me.
And they've already followed you. And can I see if someone's following me, but I'm not following them and I haven't connected with them, will I see their content?
Yeah, well, you can't, not if you're not following them. And that's the same.
So it's not going to come up on my feed.
No.
But if I follow them, they follow me. I see the content just like I'm connected to them, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But the benefits are I can send them messages and such when we're connected. We're actually part of each other's network, and the algorithm will show us a little bit more of those people we're connected with first, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But there are ways of actually sending direct messages to people who you're not directly connected with. And there's a variety of different ways that you can do that. And the top 3 are by adding a new feature onto your profile, which is the providing services feature. This again sits under the headline on the profile, and everyone can actually access it by literally just going onto their profile, and underneath you'll have this button that says open to. Now this gives you the option to add providing services, finding a job, or that you're hiring. And this can
and we've all seen that the purple and the blue, I'm hiring or I'm open to network. Sure, that's where that is.
Yeah, so you can put providing services, and basically it's an advert. So you're telling people what you do, and then people outside of your network can send you a direct message to inquire about those services. The other way that you can send messages to people, so if you have, let's say you've hit your connection request limit, but you still want to do some lead generation, add yourself into relevant groups. So even if it's starting with your hometown or, you know, where you're based, like for example, I'm in Nottingham. So I would type in Nottingham, have a look at groups, and immediately there's a whole list of whether they're networking groups, business entrepreneur groups, whatever it might be. Once you've been accepted into that group, you can then see all the members and you can direct message people through that group. Wow. And likewise, really, really good one here as well is if you are signing up for a LinkedIn event, once you're attending that event, you also have access to direct message everybody who's there. So really, really good way of actually finding some people who are genuinely interested in the same things as you.